Welcome to the only daily podcast focusing on compliance news of the day. Each morning, start your day with a cup of coffee and Tom Fox, the voice of compliance, to hear about 4 of the top compliance, corruption, or leadership stories you will need to start your day. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
First, a word from this month's sponsor, Ethico.
If you're a compliance officer, middle managers are crucial in getting your programs from you to your frontline employees. But how do we activate those managers and get them on our side? Ethico's new Middle Manager Toolkit equips you with the skills needed to empower your managers, to promote a culture where ethical behavior thrives and employees feel empowered to speak up. Learn how to turn frontline managers into ethical leaders with our new white paper, Empowering Middle Managers as Ethics Champions. And did I mention you can get the whole toolkit for free? Head to ethico.com to download the full toolkit today.
Also, if you are looking for something new and different for the upcoming Compliance Week celebration in November, check out The Compliance Kids. It's my 3-book children's series on compliance and compliance professionals for children. But they make great gifts and great training tools for your employees. You can check it out on Amazon.com. We've linked to it in the show notes. The Daily Compliance News for October 8, 2024, the National Security Edition. And we begin with that story from The Gothamist, a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, which reports that the New York City Mayor Adams' bribery case involves national security information. Some of the evidence against the mayor in his corruption case involves classified material that could endanger national security if disclosed, prosecutors wrote in a new letter to the judge. The assistant DA did not reveal the details of the evidence in her request for an ex parte hearing, but the filing invokes special procedures regarding classified information, a sign that the Adams bribery case could involve evidence gathered through surveillance of foreigners. Next up, remember Robert Allen Stanford? Well, he was one of the great fraudsters of the first decade of this year, swindling some $7 billion from investors. Well, it looks like some people actually may get paid. And this is nearly 15 years after it's happened, but at least they're finally getting paid. The New York Times reports on a couple who sold their share of repayment. They lost $1 million. They could have gotten up to $350,000 in the disbursement, but they agreed to sell their share for around $60,000. So sometimes you take a bet on a flyer. Sometimes it works out. Sometimes it doesn't. On the other hand, they got money quicker than 15 years. Next up from the Chicago Tribune, former Illinois House Speaker Mike Madigan's corruption trial started, and it will focus on 3 taboo words from the world of bribery and corruption. Quid pro quo. So was a quid pro quo paid to the speaker? Well, that's what we're going to find out. And our final story comes to us from City AM, also a first-time contributor to the Daily Compliance News, who reports that 2 SFO, or Serious Fraud Office staffers, who are in trial for their actions to publicize the ENRC matter before any charges were ever brought by the SFO. They're in settlement talks. It's not clear what the resolution might be, but the court delayed the start of their trial for up to 1 day. The ENRC matter is a huge black eye for the SFO, and hopefully at some point in the future they'll be able to get past it, but they're not there yet. As I mentioned at the start of this podcast, the sponsor for the entire Compliance Podcast Network is Ethico. Well, Ethico has a great new offering this month for you, a toolkit for middle managers. This is something that you, as the compliance professional, can use to move your compliance program forward by giving middle managers the skills necessary to answer a call for speak up, or when someone comes in their office and raises a concern. I can't think of a tool that will be more valuable for you in the current era of enforcement. The Daily Compliance News is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network and a proud member of C-Suite Radio. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow.